And now we should be live on both the horizontal and the vertical streams on YouTube. Okay. Okay, cool. They're live. Hey, if you're on YouTube, welcome in. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Today we're doing peanut butter cookies, and I put the peanut in quotes because we're doing Sunbutter cookies, because if I made peanut butter cookies, I would die. I wouldn't die if I made them. I would die if I ate them, and I would like to eat them because that's part of the fun of making cookies, is getting to eat them. But whatever. We're gonna make peanut butter cookies. I don't know what kind yet, so the first thing that we're doing in stream today is figuring that out. We're gonna look at a couple different cookbooks, some big basic cookbooks, nothing super fancy, to find a recipe, because I've never made peanut butter cookies before, because see for reference, allergies. After we do that, we started focaccia bread yesterday. I have the focaccia dough. It's out. It's on the stove back here at room temperature. It's been resting for like an hour at this point. We're gonna make that, or more specifically, we're gonna make a bunch of toppings for that. Then we're gonna make the focaccia itself. The focaccia itself is gonna take, I don't know, how long does it take? 25 to 30 minutes to bake. So while that's baking, we're probably gonna take a quick break, and we're also gonna decide what cookies to make during our cookie club stream, which will be not next week, but the week after. So we're going to do that. That is going to be streamed today. Welcome in. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for hanging out. We're live on both vertical streams. If you're on your phone, we're live on horizontal streams. If you're on a computer, or maybe you prefer that. We're also live on Twitch at the same name right there. And if you're on YouTube, I'd love a subscription, because I am super close to having the requisite number of subscribers to monetize the channel. If you're on Twitch, there's a link to YouTube in chat. Please click that link and then hit yes, because it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to subscribe? And the correct answer to that is yes. Unless it's not. And if it's not, then like, I don't know, whatever. If you're watching on Twitch, follows are silent, and if you're watching on any platform, follows and subscriptions are silent. There's no alerts, there's no sounds, there's no chat messages, and I'm not going to say hi to you if you hit the follow or subscribe button until you chat first. If you're on YouTube, you do have to wait for, it might be 5 minutes now, before you have to subscribe and wait 5 minutes before you can chat. So like, trolls, I appreciate you. I see you. Just be patient, but do hit the subscribe button. Anyway, if you're going to troll, the least you can do is subscribe. Right? Welcome in. True Caretaker says, are these the bombs I put in Discord? I looked at those. No, I want to do, I want to try something a little more, not simple. Simple's probably the wrong word. But I want to look, my goal today is to look through a bunch of different cookbooks that I have, and just grab one of the like basic peanut butter cookie recipes from there. Because I'm just looking to start simple and not like with a filled, I'm looking to start as simple as possible. I was looking through Discord this morning, which if you're in Discord, you got a response from me this morning. Cool. It's rare. I don't often, I lurk in my own Discord most of the time. But I want to kind of see what's out there as far as cookie recipes go in some of the basic cookbooks that I have. And when I say basic, I mean the like all-encompassing big cookbooks. The like these. The camera just shook when I dropped those on the counter. But I have basically four cookbooks, 3 of which are like encyclopedic volume types of things, and one of them is just a cookbook for cookies. So we're going to save that one for last. I want to see what's in here. I might, Caretaker, I was looking at those cookie bombs and I was like, I had a, I might opt for those at some point. I'd like to get, I'd like to see what's available here because I haven't, that's basically, the one that you put in Discord is the only peanut butter cookie recipe I've ever read. These cookbooks bring me back to culinary art school, Maestro. Yes, and these are like I said, encyclopedic, like as I would refer to, foundational cookbooks. So when I'm looking for recipe, I don't look at these cookbooks for inspiration. I look at these cookbooks for how do I do something? Like I have an idea. What is the best methodology for this piece of an idea that I want to execute on? So if I'm, for example, making a dish with like asparagus, I will look at recipes from here that include asparagus. Actually, for asparagus, I'd probably look at one of the vegetable-specific cookbooks I have. These cookbooks plus this are where I spend a lot of time in here, like looking through, but not necessarily making recipes from. Today, I'm probably going to end up making a recipe from here because, as I said, I just want to look at like some foundational sort of processes and elements so that I have a really like good base to start from. So that's literally the first thing I'm going to do. You could use it for the gym and curl them. I mean, these are... combined here, this is probably 20 some pounds. I don't know if this is 20 pounds. Megan, welcome in. Hello. Megan, look at what I'm looking through today. I know that you'll find this fun and interesting. And I don't think I told you about this, but I want to show you. I had tagged these folks on Instagram, and they sent me, I don't know if you can see who signed that, but I believe that you also know this person. So they actually sent me a copy of it because I found a copy in a store that I was like really stoked on finding one, and I mentioned it on Instagram on like randomly on a story, and she reached out and was like, hey, like, can I send you like your own copy? Like, can I send you a new one? And I was like, yeah, obviously. Of course you can. But we're looking, so I'm looking basically, I want to look for some, like I said, sort of, these are the books that I'm like, when I'm looking for something that I haven't made before, like I've made cookies before. I have proof. I've made cookies before, but I haven't made peanut butter cookies before. So I would just want to see like if they have a recipe for peanut butter cookies anywhere in these books. Peanut. Here we go. Peanut butter cookies. That sounds like what I'm looking for. 896, page 896. So 896. 896. Here we go. No, those are Mexican wedding cookies. Wait. These are just refrigerator or rolled cookies with peanut butter. In step 1, cream 1/2 to 3/4 cup peanut butter with the butter and sugar. You can use smooth or crunchy peanut butter as you'd like. You can also add about 1/2 cup of chopped peanuts. Try those with salt for an interesting change, along with the vanilla in step 2. Okay, so these are basically refrigerator cookies that you just add peanut butter to. How much resting time do these have? At least 2 hours. No. So we're not doing that. We're not doing that because we're not waiting 2 hours to make cookies. Sorry. I'm not, we're not, that's not the vibe. Not the vibe. Friends who are hanging out here too. Megan, who just joined us in chat, is a friend of the stream. There is a link to her Instagram. I just mentioned Instagram a few minutes ago. And there's a link to her Substack newsletter, which is lovely and delightful. And also, Megan, I need to add a link to your YouTube in there. To that. And I'm leaving myself a note. Okay, let's see if there's peanut butter, P-O-P-P-E-A, peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. Okay, we love that. 780 to 782. So we have a recipe that requires resting, 2 hours worth of resting. I'm not vibing with that at the moment, but maybe they all require resting, and if they all require resting, yikes. Okay, peanut butter cookies. Cross hatching. Yeah, these are the ones that I'm thinking of. Add the ground peanuts, stir gently. This one does not require resting. Strong peanut flavor that comes from extra crunchy peanut butter. In our taste test, we prefer Jif. As well as frozen, as from salted peanuts that are ground in a food processor and worked into the dough. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have those. I guess I could use pecans for that. Okay, if I decide to make this, I'll use pecans, or no, I'll just use pecans because I'm not using peanuts because they make me die. As per my previous statement, death is not the goal today. Peanut butter cookies are. Whisk the flour, baking soda together, set aside. Add the sugar, beat in the peanut butter, then the eggs, add the ground peanuts and stir gently. I think you don't actually need, I'm assuming that you don't actually need to add the ground peanuts in here. What about cashews? Those would work. I don't have cashews. I'm just thinking of what I have in the house. I don't have a pantry full of nuts. Because I don't eat a lot of nuts. I eat pecans and walnuts a lot, pistachios occasionally, and cashews less frequently than that. So I don't usually keep them on hand because by the time I get around to eating them, they're rancid. So Raven says, I need to know how you found out you're not meant to eat peanuts. I was a child and I ate, I was a child. I don't recall this happening. But I went into I ate something with peanuts in it. I broke out in hives. I had trouble breathing. My face swelled up and my parents were like, guess he can't eat those. I recently, about 2 years ago, had an allergy test, like an actual, went to see an allergist, did the thing where I laid down on my stomach and they like poked my back with a bunch of different stuff. And the allergist was like, damn, you're allergic to peanuts. And I was like, yup, I know. So reconfirmed, still allergic to peanuts. After that allergist appointment, I did get an EpiPen because my allergist was like, I'm giving you a prescription for this and I am demanding that you go get it. And I was like, okay, I will. After every single other person in my life who's ever found out I was allergic to peanuts told me that I needed to get an EpiPen, and I told them, no, I don't want one or need the one. At, 40 years old, I was like, okay, the doctor said I should get one, so I'll get one. So I did. And now I have it. It's somewhere in the house and it's probably expired. When I eat peanuts, I get a reaction. If I eat something with peanuts in it, it's almost immediate that my mouth, like, I start to salivate, and it just, like, everything in my brain, like, the alarms start going off. I salivate like a lot, like an excessive amount, way more than normal. It's almost instant. Like, I start chewing and it just happens. So I have this sort of immediate protective thing that happens, but it's happened before where peanuts have been in something and it like didn't register right away. That the worst, I think, was I accidentally ate like a whole piece of like peanut chicken one time. I was at a barbecue at someone's house who I never expected would even know what peanut chicken was, and they had it, and I like grabbed it off of an appetizer tray. It was like someone was doing like a walk around appetizer thing, and I grabbed it and just like stuffed it in my mouth and ate it. Like, I had 2 bites and just swallowed it, and I was like, well, that has peanuts. See you later. I'm going to CVS to get some Benadryl. And I did. And my allergist was like, please don't chew up 5 Benadryl when you have an allergic reaction. That's a bad idea. So anyway. Anyway, we're making peanut butter cookies today. So, but we're using Sunbutter. We're going to use no sugar added or crunchy Sunbutter, whichever one works. I don't know. Megan, I'm glad that you're uploading. I'm glad that you're uploading right now. I was really, what did the British say? I was so chuffed at your first video. It's like such a good entry onto the platform, into the space. And I loved it. I also, you had something on Instagram. It might have been a story. I don't remember. It might have been a short, whatever. It was about Brian doing like the lighting for some sort of like casual photo. And I was like, that's so cute. Peanut butter chocolate chunk cookies. Yes, caretaker. Chocolate and peanut butter, I feel like, is a thing that I'm really missing out on. Raven, I would love to get cashews right now. I was even at the store this morning, but I didn't. If it's raw, it bothered me versus cooked. Maestro, interesting. I don't have that distinction. Cook it or raw, whatever. Caretaker, EpiPens do expire. Yeah, I haven't looked at it. I think they take like a couple years to expire, but well, I should refrigerate them. I eat the pecans quickly enough, and the other ones I just don't buy. Burning poison ivy. Oh my God. Yeah. There was a time in my life where I tried to make myself immune to poison ivy, and it didn't work. It didn't work. Simple as that. If you kiss someone that just ate peanuts, does that happen as well? Yes. Yes. Deep fried in peanut oil. Velas, yes. However, if you deep fry, the thing with deep frying is, if you deep fry something really well, it shouldn't be greasy. It shouldn't have oil on it. So I've had things that are deep fried in peanut oil and had a very, very minor reaction. But like, I can't eat at Five Guys, for example, because they use peanut oil on all of their fries. I'll even go into Five Guys because it's literally in the air and it makes me feel sick to my stomach. I love a trail mix too, just not the trail mix with peanuts in it. I make my own trail mix. Okay, so this recipe does not call for, there's no resting involved in this recipe. It's all action right from the start. So this one we could do. This says it makes about 36 cookies, and this is the cross-hatched cookie, which we love. Peanut butter chocolate chip. Follow the recipe, adding 1.5 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips with the ground nuts. Okay, so I could also just make these chocolate, and that would be lovely. butter. Okay, so this is the new best recipe. So they give a bunch of information about the peanut butter cookies. Natural peanut butter cookies with a layer of oil on top made the cookies sandy. Commercial brands contain partially hydrogenated vegetable oils. Wow, there's a lot of information. Try to use more peanut butter to boost the flavor. We could still not get a strong enough peanut flavor. The texture suffered as we removed the butter from our working recipe. The cookies were sandy and almost like shortbread. Butter is crucial for lightness and a chewy texture. We found that chopped peanuts tend to slip out of the dough. We ground them in the food processor and worked them directly into the dough, which greatly improved the peanut flavor. Okay, so they're using the peanuts, ground peanuts here for flavor, less so for consistency. So I could definitely add pecans to this and that would be, and do this with pecans and that would be okay. Okay, so this recipe is so far the winner. We're not throwing this one away, but we're gonna put that one to the side for now because that one requires resting. Sunflower oil. I see sunflowers are something I can eat. So we have opposing allergies. It's funny. My partner's brother is he's also allergic to peanuts, but we have some different. We have like I can eat walnuts and he can't. I can eat sunflowers and he can't. Like he can eat almonds and I can't. So it's interesting because like if I'm allergic to it, he can eat it, and if he's allergic to it, I can eat it. So we just when he's here, I just avoid everything. Just avoid it all. Okay, peanut butter cookies. The joy of cooking says peanuts, boiled brittle, dipping sauce soup, sweet potato stew, and Thai spice. Nope, peanut butter cookies. 771. Let's look at these. How much if any resting do these require? 777. Jackpot. 771. Okay. I feel like any cookbook that has 777 pages should have something on that page that is like slot machine related, because isn't that a thing, the sevens? I feel like it is. They should have like jackpot cookies or something. I don't know. Hey, cookbook authors for the future, you and me, I got ideas. Peanut butter cookies, about 61.5-inch cookies. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We could probably make them larger than that and make 30 of them. Try these rich and crumbly peanut butter cookies, first published in the 1936 edition. Peanut butters vary in oil content, so start with a smaller amount of flour and add until the dough is satiny but not dry. Okay. What does this need? Preheat the oven. Unsalted butter. Softened. Okay, so both of these recipes call for unsalted butter that's softened. I do not keep unsalted butter in the house. So we're going to use salted butter because it's never been a problem before. So why would it be a problem now? This was in the fridge. We'll just let that sit out for a little bit. It's not that softened, but like I'll put it in the microwave. It'll melt and then I'll complain about it. Gradually blend until creamy. Sugar, brown sugar, egg, peanut butter, smooth or chunky, vanilla, baking soda, salt, all-purpose flour. Shape into 1-inch balls and arrange about 2 inches apart on the prepared baking sheets. Oh, I love this. When you shape the cookies and don't just like scoop them out. Press flat with a fork as shown on page 768. 768. Here we go. 2 ways to flatten drop cookies. One with a fork, one with a glass. Got it. Bake until firm, 10 to 12 minutes, switching oven racks and rotating the sheets halfway through. We're not going to do that. Let cool in the sheets for 2 to 3 minutes and transfer to a wire rack to cool completely. Okay, this recipe also requires no resting. So we have 2 clear winners. This recipe does not require a grinding of additional nuts and flour. Here's what happens when you get America's Test Kitchen recipe. They make it complicated. They don't make it unjustly complicated, but their whole thing is like, we want you to have the most perfect vibrantly peanut buttery cookie. And the joy of cooking's whole thing, at least in my experience, my limited experience using the cookbook, is basically like, we want you to be able to do this. We don't want it to be hard for you. We don't want it to be super complicated. We want it to turn out as expected. So at this point, I'm definitely leaning towards this joy of cooking recipe, because this one, why am I out of focus? There we go. I have a button on the Stream Deck that makes the camera focus. That's fun, right? I haven't had to use that like ever, but it's there. And I could also, if I wanted to, I'm assuming with this recipe, put chocolate in it. I don't. I kind of just want to make these, as I said, I just want to make like basic peanut butter cookies. So at the moment, the joy of cooking is the winner, but we're going to tab the peanut butter cookies in the new best recipe right now for future research purposes. What do I have tabbed in here currently? Angel food cake, I made that. Macaroni and cheese, I make that regularly. I don't need to tab that. Hearty meat lasagna, I made that recently. Okay. I'm like, what are these tabs doing in here? I put tabs on the top of the pages to let me know which recipes I've cooked from here, the pink tabs. And then I put tabs on the side to let me know which ones I'm using that day. It's a whole thing. Okay, so let's take a look now at this last cookbook, which is the Joy of Cooking. No, sorry, it's not the Joy of Cooking. That's inaccurate. It is this 100 Cookies cookbook by Sarah Kiefer. I really love this cookbook. I've made plenty of cookies from here, and I've made several cookie club cookies from here. So let's just see if they have any peanut things in here. Peanut butter. Oh, they got a lot of peanut butter cookies in here. Okay, so I might end up working out of this book because I love the cookies from here. Grandma makes banana pudding with homemade shortbread. Oh, I love homemade shortbread. Incorporated fresh whipped cream. Sounds lovely. You made it with her. That's kind of cool. Sad that she can't eat it though. What prompted your grandmother to start making this lovely sounding banana pudding if she couldn't eat it? I'm curious if that was a family request or if it's like an old family recipe or something of that nature. Brownie cookies with peanut butter. Okay, that sounds lovely. Chocolate peanut butter pretzel bark. Don't have pretzels, can't do that. Kitchen sink cookies, don't want to do that. That sounds complicated. Marshmallow peanut butter brownies. I want cookies, not brownies. Peanut butter cookies. Okay, page 37 and page 240. Peanut butter cookies with peanut butter filling also sounds complicated. Peanut butter crunch brownies, no. Scotcheroos, no. Okay, so 37 and 240. Let's just look at 240 first because we're gonna flip back here. 240. What section of the pan are we in? Of the cookbook. We're in the pan banging section. These are the ones where you like a couple minutes before the end of the bake, you like open the oven and bang the pan, and the cookies get these nice like striations in them, which are really cool. It looks like this. If you're like, what are you talking about, Lou? How the edges of those are like rippled. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, okay. Oh man, developing allergies later in life has got to be awful. I'm waiting until I'm allergic to like cheese or something. Terrible. Okay, this one calls for all-purpose flour, almond flour, which obviously I don't have because I can't eat almonds either. I would use pecan flour for that. Baking soda, salt, unsalted butter, granulated sugar, brown sugar, creamy peanut butter. It says to see note. Note, you can add more than is added, the chewier the cookie will be. Okay, fine. 1 large egg, 1 tablespoon water, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla, and then these have chocolate in them. So this is a contender. These sound pretty good. Is there any resting involved in here? Form the dough. No, no resting. This recipe makes 12 cookies. 12 cookies. There's not enough cookies, y'all. I'd probably make them a little smaller. Loaz, hello on YouTube. Welcome in. Aslan, welcome in. I am currently looking at recipes for peanut butter cookies. We're making a basic, as close to a basic peanut butter cookie as I can today without being too basic. I mean, basic is good. I'm leaning towards this recipe from the joy of cooking, but I'm doing a little bit of research in the moment to figure out what, if anything, is going to strike my fancy. Okay, these are in the section of this book called The Classics, which is great. Flour, baking soda, salt, butter, brown sugar, sugar, peanut butter, egg, vanilla, candied nuts. Optional. Okay. Do these require any resting? No. Bake one pan at a time. Yes. This one gives a weight for the balls. We love that. This one has extra peanut flavor thanks to the addition of candied peanuts and has a perfect balance of softness and crunch. Okay, I don't know. I'm up in the air. These are both about the same. They require the same level of effort. I am inclined to go for this one from the Sarah Kiefer book, only because I have made cookies from here before, and this is a literal cookie cookbook, and I would love. I'm one of those folks that does that, like, I've made a bunch of cookies from here, and I would just like to kind of continue working through the list. Because there's only 100 in here, and yeah, and I've made, I don't know, 12, 15 of these so far. So I think this is what we're going to end up doing. This is what we're going to do. So let's get started. Raven, would I want the recipe? I always want to read recipes. I really enjoy literally just reading recipes. Like when I get a new cookbook, which I don't very often, I read it cover to cover. Like I read all of it. Like I don't just look at the recipe title. I read the recipes. Like what process are they using? What are they asking you to do? How is it worded? Because I like writing recipes too. Like it's a thing that I make money doing, and so I appreciate the craft of all of it. And so I consider it like research as well. Like when I do get a new cookbook or when someone shares a recipe with me, if you share a recipe with me, like if you put something in like the recipes channel in Discord, I will read it. I'm really in Discord, in my own personal text messages, in real life, I'm like really shitty about responding, and I'm not really sorry about it. It's just how I am. And it's how I've been my entire life. So I'm not gonna I sometimes feel bad about it, but I'm not gonna like apologize. But I do read them. And I would love, yeah, if you ever, you don't have to ask to share a recipe with me. I want to set expectations that I make the things that I can make. We don't do redeems on this stream. There's no like make my recipe. There's no way for someone who's in chat to be like, hey, I just spent 1,000 channel points, make my recipe. Like, I don't do that. But I will read them. And sometimes I make them. There's been cookie recipes for Cookie Club. I am most likely to make those if they're in the cookie chat channel. The ones that are in the recipes channel, I've made a few of those over the years on stream, where they've like really dovetailed nicely with what I was buying at the market or what I was craving at that time. So we're making peanut butter cookies today. We're making the peanut butter cookies called the Classics. Classic peanut butter cookie from the Sarah Kiefer 100 Cookies cookbook. So that is what we're going to do today. I'm making these not for Cookie Club, not for any special occasion. I'm making these because I am genuinely curious. I've never had a peanut butter cookie. I've never made a peanut butter cookie. I am in fact allergic to peanut butter, and we are using Sunbutter today, but that's okay. So, it's not the same. I know that it's not the same. Like, recognize that it's not the same, and like, let's collectively get over it. We are gonna get out. I'm gonna get out my ingredients now, and then we're gonna read this recipe. Actually, read it like line for line, and make sure I didn't miss anything before I start adding stuff to a bowl. Let me actually read the recipe line for line before. No. Yeah, let me read it line for line before we actually get out the ingredients, because that'll also tell me like what tools I need for this, what kitchen tools I need. Raven, that's really cool. Do you have a favorite meal from that cafe? Sunbutter is sunflower seed butter, so it is also specifically a brand. Sunbutter is a brand and a terminology, I guess. I mean, it's sunflower seed butter, so it's an alternative butter. You could use cashew butter. You could use any nut butter in this recipe, I assume. Sunbutter, I have been told, and I cannot confirm this because of all the reasons that I stated already, but I've been told that Sunbutter tastes more like peanut butter than other nut butters. I'm positive that it doesn't taste like peanut butter, but more is good enough for me. So adjust an oven rack to the middle of the oven. Preheat the oven to 350. Okay, I turned the oven on. Did I not? I did. Line 3 sheet pans with parchment paper. So let's get out our sheet pans. I'm going to use the big cookie sheet pans that I have, because this says that it makes 24 cookies. They're assuming that you're using half sheet pans. Like, basically every recipe that exists. Let me show you. Hold on. It's time for some learning. Not learning, but like, some folks have no idea what I'm talking about when I say these things. So I always enjoy if there's anybody out there that's like, what do you mean sheet pans? Why would there be a difference? Well, let me share with you. So Trish says, what a frustrating day. Instacart shoppers are now being used for orders placed on the Walmart website. So if a customer requests to add an item in the chat, it won't let me do it. So now it's a me problem. Why even give them the option to chat with me if there's nothing I can do? Completely. That's annoying. And then I'm sure you get dinged for having a, I'm sure you would also get dinged on the actual order for like not, the tip and the rating. The tip and the rating too. Because then the customer is like, well, what the fuck? Why can't you do the thing? That's annoying. I'm sorry. Sheet pans. There are the normal size sheet pan that most folks have in their house looks like this. Maybe it doesn't look like this. This one's well used, obviously. But a normal size sheet pan is what is actually a half sheet pan. So most people, when they get out a sheet pan for a recipe they're making, are getting out something like this size, right? There's also a full-size sheet pan. Now this is demonstrably larger, as you can see. This is a full-size sheet pan, and most recipes, when they're saying like line a sheet pan, are talking about this one. So if they say like, hey, you can put 6 cookies per tray, if you're using a regular sheet pan, a half-size sheet pan, that will be true. And if you're using a full-size sheet pan, you can probably put like 8 to 10 on here instead. So the more you know. I like using the full-size sheet pans because I have them and they're fun to use because I can. And also I can put more cookies on them. Okay. You want to line those with parchment paper though. That was a really long way of saying that I probably don't need 3 of them. I can probably fit 12 cookies on each of these trays and just go with 2. Right? And welcome in. The classic sheet pan I grew up with. Almost everyone who's using a sheet pan is using a half-size sheet pan. Still no dough. So far, no. No. I was going through, so I went through some cookbooks and looked at different peanut butter cookie recipes so that I ended up picking one. I was looking to see what the different peanut butter cookie recipes in my like large cookbooks entailed. There's a variety of different options. Some of them have chocolate, some of them have ground up peanuts in there. I'm using a really basic peanut butter cookie recipe with no chocolate, no ground up nuts. This one does have an option to add candied peanuts in there, but I'm not doing that. I could candy some pecans, as I have done many, many, many times on stream. I could candy some pecans, but I'm not really inclined to do that. I'm sort of, I would like to just keep them as peanut flavor only. Because if I end up doing, like if I did that, then they would have like pecan flavor in there too. So there's no nut, like actual like nut that really approximates the taste of a peanut. I guess that if I'm using Sunbutter, I could have gotten like sunflower seeds, like just roasted sunflower seeds, but I didn't do that either. So, okay, so step 1, complete. 13 sheet pans is a lot of sheet pans, right? Grandma liked to cook. Well, if Grandma owned a cafe, that's probably where a lot of that came from, I'm guessing. So I agree, the basic ones are often the best. That's why I just want to start with something that's super basic today. Like when you think of a peanut butter cookie, you think of the one with the cross hatching on it with the fork, right? At least I do. And like that's what I want to make today. I don't want to make like chocolate. I don't want to make, you know, extra crunchies or in and around. I don't want to add like sparkly sugar. I don't want to fill them with marshmallows. I just want a basic cookie today. That's the goal. Huge cartoon size sheet pans. I kind of love those. If you have like a large commercial oven and you can get like the massive sheet pans in there, I think those are great. I worked at a bakery for a little while, and I worked at a couple different bakeries actually, and it was always really I was like, damn, these sheet pans are huge. You're baking like 4, 5, 6 loaves of bread on a sheet pan, and you're just like, oh, like you put them in the proofer. You could like the proofer's large enough. You can put like the whole cart in there, and like, you know, it's just kind of wild. Oh my God. What channel was I hosting? That's interesting. What other dad channel was I hosting? I'm trying to think of some other dads. There's a Game Pass dad is the one that comes to mind immediately. Always a fun fact, Raven. Blogger dad. Oh. Okay. Blogger dad is Australian, and she is wonderful. I love her channel so much. She was one of the first folks. Blogger dad was on in some of my first streams, like chatting, and some of her community was in some of my first streams too. She's hilarious. Maestro, the ice cream shakes. Yes. You know what's weird when I do eat sunflower stuff? I've made a couple different baked goods with Sunbutter before, and when I do that, it like my brain freaks out a little bit because it's like, you should be reacting. You should be allergic. And my body's like, nah, we're not. And my brain's like, but the peanut flavor. My body's like, chill, dude. It's cool. Line the sheet pans with parchment paper. Whisk together the flour, baking soda, and salt. So we whisk the dries. In the bowl of a stand mixer fitted with a paddle attachment, beat the butter on medium speed until creamy. Add the brown and granulated sugars and beat on medium speed until light and fluffy. Add the peanut butter and beat on medium speed until fully combined. Add the egg and vanilla and beat on medium speed until smooth. Add the flour mixture and beat on low speed until just combined. Stir in the candy peanuts. Okay, so these are easy. You mix the dries all together. You mix everything else in the stand mixer bowl, and then you're finished. Form the dough. Place 8 cookies on each sheet pan. Use the tines of a fork to make a crisscross shape over the top of each one. The cookies will flatten slightly when you do this, but you don't want them to flatten too much. Bake one pan at a time, rotating halfway through baking until the cookies have spread and the edges are set, 9 to 10 minutes. Transfer the pan to a wire rack and let the cookies cool completely on the pan. Cool completely on the pan. Interesting. Okay, that's a note. That means if this makes 24 cookies, I do want 12 of them on a tray because I've only got 2 trays. And so thing that I want to do first is not first, but I want to make sure that I know what the tare measurement of my bowl is, my mixing bowl. I do have that. It's 772 grams. Because I will want to weigh the dough. I want to weigh the dough, divide that by 24, and see if that ends up being somewhere around 45 grams. 45 grams is a good size cookie. So, yeah, Maestro, I used to work in a couple different bakeries. One of the ones I worked in was like a grocery store bakery, and my entire job was putting like frozen bread on those proofing trays and putting them in the cooler overnight. That's it. I like racks and racks and racks and racks of grocery bakery store bread, just on the trays into the cooler. More boxes out of the freezer on the trays. Like we didn't make the bread there. Like they baked the bread there, but the bread itself came in these like frozen, half-proofed, deep frozen loaves, which was fun. Every day when I worked there, I used to get a thing of sourdough and from the dairy section, I used to take a container of the hell of a good French onion dip, and I would eat an entire loaf of sourdough bread and eat an entire container of the dip. I also worked at night and I was the only person there. So I did that, and then I cleaned the floor. I cleaned everything. I did that, and then I sprayed everything with a hot hose. I scrubbed the floor. I scrubbed the surfaces. Did that. I also worked in a bakery that was that was in Reading Terminal Market. It's still there. Flying Monkey. It was they do like cookies and cakes and like treats. That was a little different because there was no bread there. It was all just like cookies and snacks and stuff. And also their space was a lot smaller, so the ovens were actually like pretty small. The sheet pans at the grocery store ovens were friggin' huge. So the dip is really good. I've never played Peak. I don't think I'm aware of Peak. What is Peak? Is that where you have to climb? Isn't there one where you're like tethered to another like player, or you can be, and you have to like climb something all the way to the top? Is that the game I'm thinking of? Is it true that sourdough bread is difficult to make? I have no idea. According to anyone who I talked to during COVID, no, it's not. I've never made bread myself, actually. I've made bread insofar as I put it on a tray to proof. Okay, let's get out my ingredients over here. We're gonna figure out what I need. Not figure it out. We're gonna get what I need out of the cabinet. I need baking soda. So not baking powder. I need baking soda. One of these boxes of baking soda is open. It's this one. Salt. I'm just going to use kosher salt because it's over there. Butter's on the counter. Brown sugar. Okay, brown sugar. Doesn't say whether it's dark or light. I'm going to use light. Granulated sugar. How much granulated sugar? A half a cup. Okay, plenty in that bag. Peanut butter on the counter, egg on the counter, vanilla extract. I'm going to use the good vanilla extract, and when I say good, I mean the one that's real vanilla extract. And that's it. Flour. Oh, I got to get the flour out too. Okay. And flour. Got it. Okay. Let's put... Oh! God. Every time I go into this cabinet, something falls out. I really just need to like reallocate all the stuff in this cabinet about every 2 months. I use it often enough. I go into the baking cabinet often enough that it's like a lot of transition in and out, and so it gets messed up in a hurry. All right, I only need 2 sticks of butter for this, so we're gonna put the third back in the fridge. I grabbed 3 because I wasn't sure how many I would need. This was in the fridge, and honestly, this is pretty soft. I feel like it's not softened in a sense of like you could spread it on toast, but it's softened in a sense of like if I put this in a stand mixer, it would cream. So I think that's good. We're also a few moments away from actually having to do that, so it still has a little bit of time to soften up. I need a stand mixer with the paddle attachment. Let me get that out. Stand mixer. Paddle attachment. Okay. I gotta bring my recipe back over here. Place 8 cookies in a sheet pan. Okay. Bake 1 pan at a time. All right, all of that is done. We can get started with the baking. I can also check my little checkbox off here. Because we found the recipe. Raven, that's really cute. That's really cute. What was his reaction? Did he remember it? Yeah, I can't. The avalanche happens every time I open that cabinet. It's a pain keeping the starter alive, Bello says. Yeah. It's funny. I know at least a few people that have like a sourdough starter that they've kept for a long time. I don't know if I know anyone who's had a sourdough starter since before COVID. I know several people that have had one that they started during COVID. Okay, so let's just get this let's get this on. We're going to measure out the dries. Just need a bowl for that. And all of the recipes in this book come by weight, which is phenomenal. We love recipes by weight. In a medium bowl, whisk of the flour, baking soda, and salt. We can do that. It's not enough hours in the day, caretaker, right? I feed myself. I'm not trying to remember to feed a sourdough starter. I don't think I could do it. I could do it, but like eventually what would happen is what happens to all of our houseplants. I would forget for a couple weeks and then it would die. Which is why if you have a lot of houseplants, the hardy ones maintain. You can feed it once a week, fellow says. Right. How much do you feed it? I mean, like, are we talking about, it's like a cup of flour? Because I feel like I would, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, this is probably something I could do. I haven't ever wanted to. That's the thing. All right, let me wash my hands over here real quick as I am going to get started making these cookies. I just haven't ever had the urge to make bread like that. I love eating it, but I don't really, it's never like struck me as a like, oh man, I really want to do that. I had a couple friends who made it during COVID, but then they just gave me bread. And so I was like, I don't really need to get into this. I have a source for this already. You know? Biggie Large Foo, welcome in. I like your diner dance emotes. Do you see the diner dance pillow over here? Beth, welcome in. Beth, I think you said hi. Did you say hi earlier? Did you like say hi, say something earlier in chat? I feel like you did, and then I feel like maybe I didn't say hi. And if that's true, I'm sorry. And if it's not true, hi. Welcome in. Good to see you. Happy Thursday. 311 grams of flour. Okay. So we're going to start with our dries. Paula says, a lot of your sourdough in stores is regular bread with some vinegar added to make it taste like sourdough. I tend to believe that. I will say I don't often buy sourdough from like the grocery store. Usually if I'm buying a sourdough loaf, it's usually from a bakery. And I trust that that's what it says it is. When I buy it from like the good bakery, I'm like, all right, this is real. I thought about buying they had sourdough, like sliced sourdough bread on sale today at the grocery store when I went, and I was like, I had that same thought. I was like, nah, probably not real. They literally just mean sourdough, not a sourdough loaf. He did remember it. Amazing. It was grandma like, hey, wait a second. What's going on here? That's really cute. I love that. That's a really lovely story. That's really cool that she was also that's cool that like the folks who participated in that at all points kind of remembered the situation. Almond flour. Velos, I feel like almond flour. Wait, hold on. Do I need more of this? No, 311 grams. Okay. I feel like almond flour is the standard substitute for regular like flour. Is that correct? Like, would you say that's correct? Okay, put the flour away. Baking soda, a teaspoon of baking soda, and then a 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Like I said, I'm just going to use kosher salt here. Baking soda, hold on, confirm. That is baking soda, yes. And then 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Ooh, that's sour. Not sourdough. That focaccia loaf back here is like showing up. 1, 2, 3. 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Now, should I have added less salt because I'm using salted butter when it calls for using unsalted butter? Probably. Did I? No. And that's okay. We're going to put that back in the cabinet. And next, 1 cup, 2 sticks, unsalted butter at room temperature. Depending on the temperature of your room, if it's cold, it might be this temperature. We're going to cream this. It says to cream this for about 1 minute. I'll probably end up doing it for a little bit longer than that, just because it's going to be, because it's not fully room temperature yet. So it might take a little bit more than that, but that's okay. It's it's definitely like, I don't know. It's softened. I would say that it's softened. It's not softened to the point where it's like I said, it's not spreadable yet, but it's squeezable. We still chat and bake. That's cute. I love that. Okay, I'm going to give that about a minute to until creamy, it says. We're setting a timer. And thank you for the metrics. We love that. Inadvertently makes sourdough almond flour bread. Vinegar causes it to rise at least a little bit. What kind of vinegar do you use? White or apple cider? Oh, a fake cornbread. Do you leave the flour? Would you leave the flour a little bit chunkier in the cornbread situation? Spreadable and squeezable, right? That, you know, like many good things are. Ta-da! Did I mention I like innuendo? I do. I love it. You can use those anytime. That was 1 minute. This is not quite creamy yet, I don't think. I'm going to scrape this down, and we will do that for another few moments here. And I'm not sure. I can see the shipping, so I know that they got shipped. I could check. It takes like a couple days to process. Okay, not quite there yet. I don't know if Fourth Wall ships like same day. I feel like they ship like, I feel like it takes several days to ship. But But that was not like 2 days ago, so they should have by now. Okay, we're gonna do that for about another minute. This is still, this is starting to get creamy, but it's not, I know what they're saying. I know when it's like room temperature and it's creamy, like it's different than what the texture is right now. So, I probably should have thought about getting the butter out earlier, but I didn't. And like, that shouldn't really, if you've been here before, that shouldn't really surprise you all that much. Okay, just gonna set the timer and keep this going here. Apple cider is less flavorful for the bread, if that makes sense. It does make sense. I feel like apple cider mixes in well with other things. Sofa says fourth wall is pretty slow. I won a mug once and it shipped from Latvia. Yeah, exactly. Like that mug that I won off of Poop Witch's stream was a fourth wall giveaway, and that took like a month to arrive. And the stickers specific, like all because all of that stuff is it's not warehoused. Like they print it on demand. So you order it, they put it into like a queue, and it eventually gets printed and shipped from wherever. When I hear the KitchenAid struggle, I want to get a Hobarter and Ankerstrom. That second one I've never heard of. Welcome in. I do have a redeem for questions. The redeem is often more used for like specific questions that are like maybe I've not answered the question in chat if you've asked a couple times, which does happen eventually. I occasionally miss a chat. I feel like I'm pretty good about seeing chat and responding. I try to be. I'm not always. Sometimes I'm like doing cooking stuff, you know? That is how it goes. Whenever I get like towards the end of, usually if I'm like getting towards the end of stream and I'm like finishing something, that's when I miss things. Or often I will forget to respond to something if it's like right before a raid. Like someone chats and then I get a raid and I'm like, oh no, and I scroll back up and like I can't process all of it. My brain's like, no, we don't want to. Okay, this is pretty good. We're gonna add the brown and granulated sugar now. And we're gonna beat until light and fluffy, about 2 to 3 minutes. Let's do that. I need the scale for that. Okay, this is creamy now. It just had to, when you mix it, it warms up, and it needed to like mix for a minute to just get to the temperature it was supposed to be, and then get to the consistency. So we needed an extra like minute or two there. Pretty normal. You can't, it's hard to do it when, it's hard to get it to that consistency when it's like right out of the freezer, because it sort of goes from like, it just takes a long time, and I don't know, it never, if you get them out of the fridge, it's usually okay to like let them wait on the counter for just a few minutes and then mix it for extra time. I feel like when you take the butter out of the freezer and you try to like cream it from there, it just doesn't work. It's why I started keeping more sticks of butter in the refrigerator, because often I'll be looking at the recipe and I'll be like, oh shoot, I was supposed to get that out and I didn't. Okay, but I'm not going to use measuring cups for this because it gives everything by weight, so we're just going to do that on the scale. Right. most almond flour recipes are super simple, 3 to 6 ingredients, and it cooks pretty fast. Is it? It's interesting because I'm allergic to almonds, and I've never cooked with it though. I wish that I could, because I probably would. I would probably use it semi-frequently, because a lot of recipes call for it, and there's a lot of pastries that actually use it. It's one of my common questions when I like go to a pastry shop that I've never been before, or like buy something I've never had before. I'm like, does this have almond flour in it? Because even if it looks like it does, you know, like it doesn't. A lot of stuff does, and it's just like unannounced almond flour. 100 grams of granulated sugar. Confirm this is granulated sugar. Yeah, it sounds like it, but you never know. 100 grams, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 grams of granulated sugar. And then 200 grams of brown sugar. $200 grams of brown sugar. And then I'll set that to mixing and put those away. This is light brown sugar, as I said. It didn't distinguish between light or dark in the recipe. I feel like usually when a recipe doesn't distinguish between what type of brown sugar, this is me speculating. I have no like formal authority here. But I feel like when it just says brown sugar, they usually mean light brown sugar, or it usually is expecting light brown sugar. Again, no authority. I'm not like, I didn't go to culinary school, or I don't have any like knowledge of that, but I know from my perspective, if I was writing a recipe, I would distinguish which type of sugar I'm using. It annoys me when that doesn't happen. Are there other nut flours that easily replace almond? You know, I don't know that. I know I've used walnut flour before and pecan flour, both as a substitute for regular flour when baking, and also in recipes that called for it, but not for bread. I've only done that with cookies. We had a recipe that we did for Cookie Club one time that was the thumbprint cookies. I think they're actually maybe from this book, that had a either walnut or pecan flour in there that were really good. Mama says, we usually put in dark brown sugar, but I like the deeper flavor more. I almost always use dark brown. I just happen to have had a large bag of light brown sugar for a recent recipe. I forget what it was. That I'm just in the middle of using up. So that's why that's going in today. Okay, so this is working its way in. We're gonna give this, let me give this 2 minutes. 2 minutes, we'll scrape down the bowl, and then we'll give it another minute. This recipe calls for creamy peanut butter. I have no sugar added Sunbutter and crunchy Sunbutter. I think I'm going to go with the crunchy because I have more of it. That's why. Because I got more of it. I also want to note that I think, yeah, I have some of a jar of this in the fridge, which is probably very solid. Yeah, we'll use the rest of this jar, which is definitely not enough. Yeah, we'll use the rest of that, and then we'll use whatever's in here. I also know that this is going to need to be stirred because it's new, and I can see that it's I can see that it's very liquidy. So let's give this a stir while I'm waiting for my butter and sugar to cream together. Oat flour, sunflower seed flour, and lupin flour. That I am unfamiliar with. What is lupin flour? Timer's going off. I'm going to take this and scrape this down now. Ground lupini beans. Oh, hell yeah. I was just talking about lupini beans on stream yesterday. I love me some lupini beans. I didn't know they had flour made out of them. That's kind of nice. I'm now very interested in that. Every single Star Wars Lego helmet build. Oh my God. That's a lot of Lego helmets. Do y'all like Lego sets? I enjoy them. It's interesting. I don't like seek out Lego sets to do, but I've done a couple. All the Lego sets I've done as an adult have been on this stream, which is not many. I think it's 2. Yeah, this is still a bit sandy, as I would say. It's not quite creamed together yet. Until light and fluffy, it says. This is not yet what I would call light and fluffy, so we're not quite there. This needs a little bit more time, which is good because I also need a little bit more time with the peanut butter. Sunflower butter. A higher protein bread. Oh yeah, because it's got beans in it. Ah, Caretaker, you do Lego builds once a month. Okay. I do love a Lego stream. I find them always to be like very conversational. It's very satisfying. For me, they're very satisfying to build. Like I said, I don't like seek out doing Lego sets. Like I don't have a bunch of like stuff kind of waiting in the wings, but I do enjoy them when I'm doing them. Okay, well this is, yeah, okay, I'll get that out with a spatula. That's not going to come out with these chopsticks. Lou, what are you doing? Do I like Star Wars? I have seen all of the Star Wars movies exactly one time. Hold on. Sorry, I had a text message that was a mandatory response text message. Okay. Do I like Star Wars? Yeah, I've seen all of them. I watch them, but I'm not like a fan. I can't like tell you. I can't really tell you anything about them. Maybe that's not the answer you were hoping for, but Caretaker, yeah, you just had you had a backlog. Okay. You had a backlog and guilt. Got it. That tracks. I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with how that works. All right, this is lighter and creamier now. I'm gonna give this, I'm gonna do that for another like minute, maybe, just to get it like even lighter than that. Because there's no notes about making it too fluffy and too light. And I don't have anything in here that could get overworked yet. There's no flour, there's no baking soda. So I'm just gonna give that like one more minute. And then we'll add the next. Add the peanut butter and beat on medium speed until fully combined. Add the egg and vanilla and beat on medium speed. 1 large egg. Let me get the egg out. Okay. All of this is going to go into this bowl. And then we make the cookies. Like, then we just portion them out. So this is a super easy recipe. I love that this gives me the weight of how much peanut butter I need because that's wonderful. Like, it's always nice. One of the reasons that I wanted to do a recipe from one of the main cookbooks that I use was the specificity that some of them have. Like, this cookbook is every ingredient that's not like that's more than like a tablespoon has a weight associated with it, which I love. When I write recipes, I include the weight even if they're not going to be included in the final version, because for myself, that's how I cook. Like, I use weight for everything. So, especially with baking, I mean, like, you got to. You got to. If you have a baking cookbook and it doesn't include the weight of the things, then I don't trust it. Generally speaking. Okay, here we go. Hey, bot, thank you for the reminder. Casual reminder to anyone who's lurking, either on Twitch or on YouTube, that if you are interested in following, but you're a little bit like, hey, I don't know what happens, follows and subscriptions are silent. There's no alerts, there's no sounds, there's no chat messages. I'm not going to mention it. If you hit the follow button, you just follow or subscribe to the channel, and that's that. You get to lurk, you get to continue just hanging out and enjoying whatever it is you're getting out of the channel. I appreciate you being here if you're hanging out. Just our gentle but regular reminder that follows are silent. Every once in a while, the bot remembers to say that, and then I remember to say that. And if y'all are so inclined, I would love if you'd hit the subscribe button on YouTube. There's a link to that in the Twitch chat. Very, very close to getting the number of all the metrics that I need to have a monetized YouTube channel, which is kind of amazing because I mainly just live stream there. I don't have a lot of like specific content, but I am working on it. It's a project in progress, and I would love your support there. Okay, so we need, hold on, how much? I think I just messed something up. I don't think I actually messed anything up. I think, yeah, okay. I didn't mess anything up, but this spatula was in the bowl when I teared the scale. Okay, that, because I was like, that is not 2 grams of Sunbutter in there. That's a lot more Sunbutter than that. Okay, that was 34 grams. I need 215, so Yeah, sorry, I just had a moment where I was like, oh, wait, that's not right. I messed something up and I can't take it out. So what did I actually mess up? 215. Or as close to that as possible. 211. 13. Okay, that's 14. It'll be 215. Here we go. We're gonna get the stuff off the edge of that. 217. Damn, what do I do? It's too much. I'm just kidding. What do we do? Nothing. We go with it because it's only 2 grams difference. Michael, welcome in. What am I going to put in these cookies? Nothing. They're peanut butter cookies, so they're as is. And they're not actually peanut butter. They're sunflower seed butter, but I won't tell if you want. Where's my towel? There we go. Raven, thank you. Thank you for the sub on YouTube. I appreciate it. As I said a few moments ago, I'm like, it's possible that I'll get to that today. If not, I'm going to make another short or 2 over the weekend and get there at that point. I haven't been prioritizing YouTube because I don't, very naked honesty here, because it doesn't make me any money. It's not like I started live streaming on it just so that I could get to the metrics, and we're almost there, which is nice. So, okay, locked, and add the peanut butter and beat on medium speed until fully combined. Fully combined. Okay. That's combined. Now that I'm finished with the hard butter, we can just continue using this spatula instead, because this one is better. Now that we have a more dough consistency and not buttery, I'm going to switch spatulas because I like this one better. No other reason, just personal preference. There's no technical reason to have switched between the two. Fully combined. Damn. Yeah, see, my brain is like, I'm allergic to peanut butter, and my brain goes a little bit sideways when I smell something that is cooked using Sunbutter, because my instinctual reaction, and I'm having this right now, I can feel it in my mouth. I can literally feel myself, my brain's like, are we having an allergic reaction or no? It's such a weird feeling. Add the egg, add the vanilla. I'm going to crack the egg into a small bowl first, because if I get any shells, I don't want to have to fish those out of the dough. No shells. Okay, good. Add the egg. Boop. And the vanilla. Wipe that little bit of egg off the counter. We're going to get rid of this towel because that now has raw egg on it. That's no longer a hand drying towel. Egg, how much vanilla do I use? 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Perfect. 1, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Now that's it. All the ingredients are in, so we're good here. I'm gonna take my things that are finished. I'm gonna put those back in the cabinet. I hate having ingredients just like sitting around loose on the counter. It bothers me, so I have to put them away. I have to put them away right away. Yes. Okay, that is smooth, it says. Mix in until smooth. Looks pretty smooth. All right, now we add the flour mixture and beat on low speed until just combined. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add the flour mixture. I'm going to mix it with the spatula first for just a few moments so that it like starts to incorporate, and then we'll put it back in here for just a moment to like fully incorporate it. I'm going to mix it with the spatula because I don't want it to puff up. Like yeah, I don't, oh, I'm supposed to whisk this together. I didn't. Pause. Okay, so I'm just going to pour this in here. It doesn't say add it slowly. It doesn't say little at a time. It just says add the flour mixture. So we're just adding the flour mixture. We're going to kind of start to incorporate that with the spatula, and then I'll finish it off with the mixer. So this is just coming together a little bit. There we go. Let me make sure that I scrape the sides. Sides are scraped. Scrape the spatula onto the paddle attachment. And we'll just drop this right back in. Mix on low until just combined, it says. So just combined usually means if you see like a very small little bit of white or flour, it's okay. Like it's okay to see just the slightest hint. And that's where we're at. I'm going to scrape this again. I'm going to scrape the sides and the bottom of this bowl and make sure that I don't have any like patchy spots where the flour didn't get mixed in. I think that I might at the bottom, so that we might just mix this for another like 5 seconds after this. Yeah, I have... that's not even really enough to consider mixing again. Okay, so I think we're good here. Now, yeah, we're good here. That's excellent. This dough looks great. Looks like cookie dough. Smells like peanut butter. My brain does not like this. I'm having a hard time. A little bit of a hard time because while I know that there's no peanut butter in here, my nose thinks there's peanut butter in here, and my nose is setting off all the alarm bells in my body that are telling me, don't eat this. I know definitively that I can eat this. And this happens regularly. This happens anytime I cook with peanut butter, where I'm like absorbing it in this capacity in a way, or when I cook with Sunbutter, where I'm like, not absorbing it, where I'm like having this long form exposure to it. When I eat like a Sunbutter sandwich, I'm not smelling it for that long. I'm like smelling it for a second or two while I'm making it, and then I'm eating it right away. This is like, my nose is like, my nose has been telling me danger now for like 20 minutes, and it's a very interesting feeling. Because Sunbutter smells very much like peanut butter. So, kind of wild. Have I had Wow Butter? I haven't. I'm not familiar. Is it associated with the game? I'm just kidding. World of Warcraft? I don't know. I probably didn't need to explain that to anybody but myself, but I needed to, you know. Yeah. Raven, that's hello. Thank you. Thank you for your support on the YouTube. All right, we'll put the mixer away now. We'll put the mixer away. We'll put the other attachments back in the cabinet too. And okay, let's make and shape some cookies, shall we? I have, I'm going to use some rubber gloves for this because it says to make them into balls. So we'll do that. Soybean butter, interesting. Do they put any additional flavoring agent in it to make it that way? I'm curious. I am kind of curious. All right, we're scales at 0. Scales at 1870. As I stated earlier, the weight of this bowl is 772 grams, I think. Confirming, 772 grams. I bet it's on the bottom of the bowl too. It is, 772. Okay, so 1870 minus 772 equals 1098 divided by 24 should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 45. 45.75. Yes. Hell yeah. Okay, so each of these cookies should be about 45 grams, as stated earlier. Okay, so tear the scale. We're back at 0. We're going to put about 12 cookies on each tray. 45-gram balls. Place the cookies in the sheet pan. Use the tines of a fork to make a crisscross shape over the top of each one. Okay, perfect. Now I'm getting it. I fucking love when the math works out. It's one of the most satisfying things that ever happens. One of the most satisfying things that ever happens. And says switch and switch dominant hand. Okay, things that I will do that. Things you should watch out for me doing with my left hand include tearing the scale, using the spatula when I have to scrape the bowl down, pressing. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to press the cookie balls with the fork, left-handed for the first time ever. Terrible. Also, the initial grab of the material from the bowl should be left-handed. So we can definitely do that. For 45. Close. Okay. So 45-gram balls. Balls. Such as. And I don't know how much these spread. If I'm looking at the picture, they look like they spread pretty well. Not pretty well. They look like they spread enough. 46, 45. I can't roll cookie balls one-handed, so just FYI. For 47. 45. So I'm going to end up with more. I'm going to end up with like 25 cookies or so. I'm going to end up with 20. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 8, 12. Yeah, 12. Okay. I'm like, wait, did I count these out in the right way? I did. We're going to end up with slightly more than 24 cookies. We're going to end up with like 24 and a quarter or something. The switch dominant hand redeem is one of my favorite redeems. There's so many times on stream where I like think about it, where I'm like, oh, what if I was doing this left-handed? And I'm like, what if someone redeemed that right now? Mostly that doesn't happen. But I think about it regularly. I'm still very poor at doing many things left-handed. but it is continual work in progress. I know I said this, I told this story when it happened, but over the holiday period, I ended up meeting up with someone who I was friends with over a decade ago, who moved out of the city, who I didn't like lose touch with, but when people sort of move away and your friendship is based on proximity, you lose touch. That's what happens. Anyway, he was back in town, reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to grab coffee? Life has changed. I'm a dad now, like blah, blah, blah. Like, I also see that you're a dad, and let's get together." And I was like, "Cool, let's do that." Anyway, he reached out to me because he actually found one of my recipes. He was like searching for something. He was searching for a specific recipe, came across a recipe that I had written online, and was like, "Oh shit, I know that guy." And he texted me and was like, "Is this still your number?" And I was like, "Yes, it is." Anyway, what was the point of that story? The point of that story was I knew this person like over a decade ago. And when we met up, he was like, "Hey, are you still like trying to be left-handed? Is that like a thing that you're still doing?" And I was like, "Yup." And I'm more left-handed now than I was when you knew me. Which I was like, how did you even remember that detail about me? Like, I was like, okay, what are we like? That must have made an impression. All right. Guess so. I started trying to be left-handed because I wanted my brain to work a little bit better. And that's one of the things where like rewiring your neural pathways by doing something different physically is one of the ways that you can do that. So I was like, what if I just started being left-handed? Surprisingly hard to find affordable sporting goods for a lefty. Yeah, it's funny. I looked into, at one point, so for all of his life, Calvin has known that am trying to do this, like trying to be ambidextrous, right? My son is now 10, for reference. And when he was younger, he was in like a T-ball or whatever league. I don't know, whatever you call it. And he didn't have a glove. And I was like, what, what hand do you throw with? And he like, we threw a couple things, and he was like, okay, I throw with my right hand. And I was like, well, what hand do you catch with? And he was like, my right, then I like tossed him a couple things and he caught with his right hand. And I was like, okay, but you can't do them both with the same hand. I'm like, if you're going to play a baseball, you have to like pick one hand to have the glove on. You're not, if you only had one hand, I get it. That's different. But like, but then we looked at the gloves and I was like, oh yeah, you're going to be right-handed. You're going to be right-handed for this sport. Because the gloves were like, they were very different in price. It was definitely noticeable. He turned out to be right-handed anyway, which, the world is made for righties. You were forced to be right-handed. When you say forced, what does forced look like? Like, was that like writing class in school, or is that a just like your parents telling you, or like not buying you the things for left-handed people or whatever? Unless you're the pitcher that only had one hand. That was a guy. I like remember that. I remember that was a thing. I used to read, when I was a kid, I read Sports Illustrated for kids. And I remember like reading about this person. He like threw the ball and then put the glove on his hand real quick or something. They forced you in school. That's sad. Like, genuinely sad. I remember my mother talking about going to Catholic school and how the nuns at Catholic school would like hit you with a ruler if you were writing not only with the wrong hand, but if you were like making your letters poorly, they would like literally hit you, which you can't, you don't do, they don't do that anymore. At least they shouldn't. And I tell you what, if my kid came home from school and it's like one of my teachers hit me, I would not be pleasant about it in my response to them. That's for damn sure. I sent an email to the principal yesterday and got a response. I was heated about something. He was very pleasant, but not very understanding. I remember teaching myself to be a left-hander in golf and hockey and baseball because I thought I would have an advantage. Yeah. I used to try to go, when I was a kid, I used to bat like right-handed. When I went to like the batting cages with my friends, I would do like both. The only thing I know from like a sporting perspective, like anything that requires a stick, right? Where you're like hockey or like lacrosse or whatever. Probably not golf. I don't know. I've never golfed. But anything that requires that, I can, you know, I have caveat. I have very limited experience playing any type of organized sports. But like, you know, I've gym class and that kind of thing. I've done those types of things before. And I've always been able to sort of do both, just in general. This is what's left. That's the last cookie ball, that teeny tiny situation. So we're going to put that in the far corner of the pan. And we're going to, actually, hold on. Let me keep these gloves on because I'm going to just do the thing with the fork. Okay, and we're going to do that left-handed too, because it has been decreed that we do the left-handed. Okay, use the tines of a fork to make a crisscross shape over the top of each one of the cookie. Each one, the cookies will flatten slightly when you do this. You don't want them to flatten too much, it says. Okay, so we don't want these to flatten too much. So let's just cross, right? Flatten, cross. I'm pressing and then I'm sort of dragging the fork across a little bit so that it gets I was dragging it across. I think it's actually better to just press and lift directly. Yeah. Okay, man, my brain is very much signaling danger right now. I can feel it in my body. I'm starting to have my mouth is, I'm expecting an allergic reaction. My body is primed for it. It's almost in panic mode. It won't get there. This is again, like, please do not be concerned. I'm just sharing where I'm at. This is an experience I've had many times with Sunbutter because it smells like peanuts. You know what I mean? Yeah, it smells like peanuts and my body does not like or want that. So it's, you know, not feeling great. But we'll get over it. Once I eat one of these, I will calm down. But these are the standard cross-hatched peanut butter cookies. I salivate uncontrollably around peanut butter as well. Probably for a different reason than I do. I am salivating because my body is trying to eject. It's preemptively trying to rid itself of the toxin that it thinks I'm about to consume. Okay, So these are all cross-hatched and look nice and are ready to go. Let's put this last little cookie ball right in the middle here. This teeny tiny one. That's going to get cooked a lot faster than the rest of them, but that's okay. Okay, let's put these into the oven now. And once I get the first round of these into the oven, I'm going to take, we're going to take a quick break. So I'm going to put these in the oven. On Twitch, we're going to run a 3-minute ad. I'm going to put up a game of Words on Stream. So if you enjoy playing Words on Stream, you can participate in that. If you don't enjoy playing Words on Stream, it's a great time to get up and get a snack or get yourself a drink or stretch. Perhaps you could use the bathroom or have a good cry. Whatever it is that suits your fancy in this moment. When we come back, we're going to wait just a few minutes more and pull the first batch of cookies out of the oven. Once those are out of the oven, then we will put the next batch in. We're just going to do one pan at a time, as the recipe says. When we're back from the break, as we're waiting for the cookies to cycle through and come out, I'm going to go through the fridge and look through what I need for the focaccia tonight, because after we're finished this, we're going to start the focaccia bread. The focaccia is back here on the stove. It is big right now. It's been resting there for maybe about 3 hours at this point. It needs to rest for 3 to 4 hours. So we're right in line with when that needs to get, when the next step needs to happen for that. If it rests for more than 4 hours, totally okay. It needs to rest for at least 3, maybe 4. It's okay if it goes longer. It just expands more and rises more and like gets more delicious. So like not a problem. Anyway, oven is on. We're going to put the cookies in the oven. I am going to set up a game of Words on Stream. Let me do that right now. I don't need to think about using my mouse left-handed because I use my mouse left-handed now. Full-time lefty on the mouse. Except now, where is, hold on. Something is awry. Why is that not working? Okay, let's, well, maybe, oh, hold on. Is that gonna work? Something has interesting. A mouse is either the mouse is not working or the computer is starting to feel overloaded. Let's see. It's not the computer. It can't be the computer. No, not quite. OBS is using a ton of memory right now. Why is OBS using all this memory? It certainly doesn't like that I'm clicking around this much. That's for sure. Okay, that's interesting. Camera's not, there's no lag on the camera, at least on my end. OBS has been weird lately. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why it's being like that. Let's do this. Hold on. I'm going to turn. Like it's like my mouse. It's almost like my mouse is literally not working. Let me, like, it's not clicking. It's not letting me click on anything. It's like doing the navigation aspect, but it's not doing the clicking aspect. You know, I've never changed the batteries in this mouse, so that may have something to do with it. Okay, we changed the batteries. Let's see. Are we working now? No. Great. Okay, cool. Maybe we're not going to play words on stream. Oh, hold on. There might be, this happens sometimes where my keyboard gets stuck. Okay, that's not happening. It's a mystery. Caretaker says the polar vortex. Yeah, Philadelphians are kind of freaking out. I'm not gonna lie. People are a little bit worried about it. We have a run on bread and milk at the store. That's for sure. Okay, is this possible?